10 coats of paint stained in tobacco.
Well, it is a day of destiny for the people of Iran. And this is a big story, of course, going on in the world. And it's going on because it sort of resembles in some form or fashion the old Cuban Missile Crisis stare down between Nikita Khrushchev and John Kennedy and who's going to blink first. Now, I don't want to be over-exercised about that. I don't want to be overwrought, but I would say that there are a lot of people who think that. But when you get a look at the information on the ground, the pictures on the ground, you kind of wonder, maybe it's been overstated. I don't know. We will talk with Sam Faddis, I already did, hint, and get his take on it. He's a person who says that, hey, wait a minute, couldn't we have done this in a different way? And apparently not, according to President Trump. President Trump leads this. This is one of his comments from yesterday's presser about the recovery of the two pilots, the F-15 pilots, one of whom was the weapons specialist. The other guy was flying the bird. And he said, look, we got this deadline coming up, which is on this day at 5 o'clock. Here's what he had to say.
Critical period. They have a period of, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I gave them an extension. They asked for an extension of 7 days, right? I said, Steve, give them 10 days. 10 days is up actually today, so I gave them 11, I guess, indirectly. I thought it was inappropriate the day after Easter. I want to be a nice person. They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some incredible countries that want this to be ended because it affects them also. A lot of people are affected by this, but we're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and after that, they're going to have no bridges, they're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah, Stone Ages.
That's how it started yesterday, and it was President Trump taking it to reporters and how he talked about what we're doing, that the angles are, what the aims are, of course, restating. no nuclear weapons. He really wants a change in leadership. He's done some of that, rinse and repeat. And it's going to take a lot more steps to that. Here are some of the people, and this was interesting. I got this from Tuesday TV. God bless Tuesday TV. And thank you so much, Jordan, for turning me on to them. The question is, who's in charge right now? With whom are members of the Trump administration negotiating? I mean, what an interesting idea. What an interesting question. Who's out there? And great question. Here is a sort of an idea by way of a graph.
To obviously concede defeat and accept the new reality and also control the streets. And considering that the army has not been completely targeted, it seems to be between the army, or as people in Iran call it, the Persian translation, Artesh, or the IRGC. Over the next few hours, now that we have the escalation that's now started, the infrastructure is getting hit, Kharg Island is under attack and everything else, today, tomorrow, absolutely crucial moments, we'll figure out if there's going to be any reaction from the so-called army in Iran, because right now they're not involved. They're not doing anything publicly. They're just there, but they're not really doing anything. It's just the IRGC launching missiles and launching drones and being in charge of the air defense system.
What's left of it, at least that's what he says. And of course, there are all the people that they have been lost to United States and Israeli attacks, mostly Israeli because they're taking people out, are members of the IRGC. Because as we know, members of the IRGC, those guys are, as he just pointed out, they're in charge of what's going on. They take what the formerly alive chief Ayatollah told them to do, and they did it. Boom, boom. It was an old, 1-2 deal. But now the army has done, according to Tuesday TV, nothing. Okay. Yeah. So now, what's happening in the time that President Trump has promised to attack bridges and power plants and all sorts of things. Now the people who, the people are rising up. The folks in the Iranian Islamist tribe have, not that is a real tribe in Iran, that's just, invaders who are completely wackadoodle-doo. But these are the people who've been in charge for 47 years. And it will astound you. Their latest is that they want women and children human shields. So they've sent out women and children, women, wives of the IRGC, you can tell by their burqas, and children to go out.
This was last night. This was last night for today.
Okay, this is Rahimi, the Secretary of the Supreme Youth Council, the Hitler Youth guy. So he's telling them it's time to give up your lives. Go out and get yourself killed. Really? Yeah, no, really.
جوانان کشور در پی پیشنهاد جوانان خلاق و فعالان گروه‌های مردمی از جوانان و چهره‌های فرهنگی، هنری و ورزشی دعوت کرد برای تشکیل زنجیره انسانی در اطراف نیروگاه‌های برق کشور در ساعت 14 حضور پیدا کنند.
2 p.m. which was about 2 hours
من از
ago.
همه جوانان، ورزشکاران، هنرمندان، بچه‌های دانشجو و دانشگاهی و اساتیدمون دعوت می‌کنم فردا سه‌شنبه.
Here's the big tell for me. Well, the pictures are the tell, and I'll show them to you in a second. But wait a minute. I keep being told by the people in charge that there's absolutely no communication going on in Iran. They desperately need a way to get information. And it's like, I cannot wait to find out where all the anti-IRGC mullahs people are. I think those are the guys that are still holed up in their apartments. But nevertheless, I mean, who's getting information? And to the extent they are getting information, How is it being delivered? What's the communication aspect? I keep looking like how, if there's no internet, the internet's been turned off again since February 28th. And so how are these people getting intel? Is it all local TV? Is the local TV station on, or do they just black that out with the lights, as they often do? So this is just sort of a disconnect for me when I find out that the IRGC dudes who are running the country are sending, they're not just communicating with each other. They're doing it apparently by handwritten notes. Okay, Mohammed, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go over and I want you to make sure that Rahmoon gets the intel on this particular target. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, wait. Here it is. And it's like, what? This doesn't actually compute to me. It doesn't compute to me because some people are getting some information and they're getting it all the time. And I'm just going, what kind of misinformation is this that we're getting on our side? And, honestly, I don't have to know. I'm just like, don't tell me, when you're peeing down my leg that it's actually the rain. It's rain. Don't do that. Or just don't say anything. Okay, just don't say a thing. I mean, I don't know how many more Starlink things we need. Good God, all attention is in space right now. Have you noticed that? We're at the Artemis 2 launch. They're up there around the moon. They're figuring out what to do. They're trying to figure out how their space capsule works. Then they talked with the people on the International Space Station today via phone or, telemetry of some sort. So they did that, and all eyes are on space at the same time that we could have issues down here. And of course, Iran says it will respond in kind to the United States. It's unlikely that will happen because they don't have the capacity to do that. At least that's what we're told. I'm banking on that to be true. Meantime, after people have been told to be human shields,
دور نیروگاه‌هایی که داشته و سرمایه ملی ما هستند بدون توجه به هر سلیقه و دیدگاه سیاسی مال آینده ایران و مال جوانان ایرانی هستند جمع بشن.
Well, somebody says in the comments, cheering on the murder of Iranians, crazy. Yeah, it is. That's why you're wondering, I suppose, why that IRGC guy, the head of the Hitler Youth, is encouraging people to go out and get themselves killed. This is Pallywood writ large. Why do you suppose those imagers are the ones getting out of Iran? Do you think it's because some TikTokers in Tehran buy an outpost of some sort? Do you think it's because there's a person who's surreptitiously getting these fantastic shots? No, it's propaganda. Don't be stupid. Stop the stupid. Doesn't make me welcome this issue. Believe me. Doesn't help, doesn't make me happy, obviously. Does not. Here's what they're sharing. Let's go over to our sharing issue here. Let's go over here. Here we go. Can everybody see this? They got the propaganda music going. Don't know what it says. Don't bomb us. Okay. Then we've got, let me just add this back. There are times when I've seen those videos that the Trump administration puts out, the DHS videos and all that stuff, and I've said, a little over the top, hilarious as hell, a little over the top, and so I just want some comportment, correct deportment, why you're deporting. But these videos of the children, those guys would kill their own mothers. Okay. Now here we go again. This is the lineup. I hope you can see it. I got to make sure I can do this. Sometimes when you share something, I mean, not that you care, but it's just kind of weird. It doesn't actually show up well. Here we go. So these guys are on a bridge, apparently. Oh, this is a power plant. Sorry. Okay, are there any secular Iranians in the crowd? That would be a no, 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 no. Oh, look, we had a, what do we have? COVID again? No, we got a kid in an IRGC uniform. That's special. Dude who's he's probably strapped and going to shoot somebody if they don't do what he says. Here's somebody who's mourning the death of the Ayatollah. But now check out the numbers of them. There's just not that many. Okay, let's go over here. Hold on. Stand by. This is I think this is a power plant, a nuclear power plant. Is this a nuclear power plant? Looks like a nuclear power plant. Well, at least they got something for their 20% of nuke fuel, their fissile material. They had 60, which is a hop, skip, and a jump to 90, which means boom booms for you and me and Europe and the Middle East, just to keep things in perspective. But check out the numbers. Okay, guys, the thing is that's not that many people. It's not that many people. Here, I'm going to get rid of it. They've got the wives of IRGC dudes out there. Now, check this out. This is wild. No, I'm not saying that same, shiznit in American propaganda. Not this badly done, I have to say. Here we go. We've got, this is from Tuesday TV. This image, I couldn't find it anywhere else. So I screenshotted it. These are IRGC wives who are in their burqas, although I do see that their faces are shown a little bit, carrying guns. They've got Jeeps, and they're patrolling the cities with guns because the men are doing something. I think the men are hiding. I could be wrong. I think they are. I think we got a problem with the men folk over there. Clearly we do. Because who's going to keep a homegirl in a sheet when he's off? Did he go to Canada? Just a curiosity. Did the husband, the IRGC husband, go to Canada like so many of them did? Check this out. I got to go find it again. I had it posted, but it was a swath of people heading to Canada since 2022, heading to Canada, set up shop. Does that make you feel better yet? We got IRGC bad dudes who are in Canada hiding. Here he is. We got another guy we saw. This is the other guy from 2022. A IRGC, he was a police captain, former IRGC. That's a Republican Guard. Those are like the palace guard, if you will, for the mullahs. And that guy's been there since 2022. I think I'll retire to someplace that has even worse weather than Iran does. But thing is, what I wonder about is what they're doing there. Are they organizing people? Is that what's going on? Do we have a cell in Canada from Toronto east or west, rather? Is that what's going on? Is that what they're doing here? Yeah. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, what the president did and has been doing in his Truth Social account has been very off-putting, honestly. Very off-putting. I mean, like using the F word and other things, stuff he doesn't do, in order so that he leaves them to wonder, okay, what's this guy up to? Has he gone mad? I mean, they've got, of course, their fellow travelers on the left calling for the 25th Amendment again. Hey, you cabinet members, turn him in. Turn this guy in. Trump's crazy. I mean, they already did this move with the 25th Amendment. And that was one of their planned goals going into 2020, during his first term, 2016 to 2020. And that was one of the things in the resistance. And so now they're doing it again. They're going to see if they can play the song again, if they can make it up to the top of the hits chart again. Now everybody hitting at number 1 this week. Trump is need of 25th Amendment. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, would you like to listen to do you want the house party version of this song? Same thing. Same crap. Same BS. He says in this one, the whole civilization will die. I got to share this tab and make sure that you can see it as well. Hello. Whole civilization will die tonight. Yeah, pretty serious. Never to be brought back again. Do you think he's referring to the Iranian people there? No. He's talking about the mullahs, the extreme 12ers, radical Islamists, and their terrorist friends. Anybody misdiagnosing what he's saying there, what his provision is there? Guess what? Stop the stupid. That's not what he's not talking. He doesn't think like a Democrat, okay? He just doesn't. He's not a leftist out there trying to kill somebody because they don't like him. Charlie Kirk. Donald Trump. J6ers. No, he's not doing that. They're not doing that. He's talking about he says, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We'll find out tonight. One of the most important moments in a long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. So obviously he doesn't mean everybody, he just means the crazy people. And then which is to say the Islamists. You cannot say that those are normal, folks. There's Muslims, normal. Islamists, crazy. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day, Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it, he wrote on Easter. Stop the effing straight. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be in a living hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. And you might be thinking, that's interesting. Why would he say that? What's up with that? It's a head fake, obviously. It's like this. It is perfectly analogous to this scene out of my favorite baseball movie, Bull Durham. Hit the bull.
Out here. I'm cruising, man.
I want you to throw the next one at the mascot.
Why? I'm finally throwing it where I want to throw it.
Just throw it at the bull, huh? Trust me.
He's the boss.
A staggering start by Lelouch. He's thrown 5 outs on 9 pitches, all of them strikes. He's got pinpoint control here tonight, Bull fans. Here's the pitch.
This guy's crazy. Yep. I wouldn't dig in there if I was you. Next one might be at your head. I don't know where it's gonna go. I swear to God.
Perfection. Absolute perfection. Don't you think? Well, I'm not asking you. That's what they're doing. Now, I talked to Sam Faddis, who is a former CIA operative. He was the guy charged with going into Iran I'm sorry, did I say that? Well, he's been shot at and all sorts of things by Iran and their proxies in Iraq, but he went into Iraq to find out if there were any WMD. So he's quite familiar with someone, a boss, lateral, guy he works with, lying to him. And when he came back and he said, hey, there aren't any WMD, we haven't found any yet. We got the old stuff. We know that was in there, but we haven't found any yet. And what happened? What happened? This is what he tells me. He's been on several times. And he says, oh, well, thing is, we haven't found it yet. And they went ahead and said, oh, yeah, there's WMD there. Well, he was going, dude, I haven't, we don't know. We don't know. So he has dealt with this on multiple occasions. So that's another thing to think about. So now we're sort of with our backs to the wall, if you will, in a way. And we're waiting to find out how Iran is going to respond to this game of chicken that we've got going. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to root for the United States of America because I don't want those crazy people to win. I don't. And they are not. Because we saw, just check it out again. Okay, they're sending out the wives with guns. They're sending out the wives with guns because they don't have time to go out themselves because they're hiding. Their husbands are hiding. They're sending things by carrier pigeon for all we know. We got people who are very treacly numbers of people out there on the streets of Tehran. We got, here are the children. We're going to sacrifice the children. Let me just clarify something for you. Nobody wants to kill kids. I'm sorry. I recognize one thing, and this is going to seem crass, okay? So I'm doing the Bible in a year thing. I'm going through the Old Testament now because that's what you do when you start the Bible in the year, because it's only 3 months into the year. Holy moly guacamole, are there child sacrifices in that whole backstory? Thousands and thousands and thousands. Please, kill your kid and do something else. It's like, whoa. And then I realized the other day, I was sitting there, I go, golly, I just can't imagine how in heaven's name God let that happen. You know how it is. We all question things about, I've never asked God why he took my daughter because I don't really think he's he's not about death. Nevertheless, here we are. And I thought, we still do have child sacrifice. It's called abortion. I thought, there it is. We are still sacrificing these poor children, as the folks in Iran doing right now. You think that's any better than abortion? Any worse than abortion? Come on, man. We got these guys. Let's see. Make sure I get this. We've got these people, not that many people. I mean, if you are the regime in power and you're at the power plant like these dudes are, where are the hundreds of thousands of people there to support their mighty leader? Where? Well, there's some there. Ain't that much. So I think it's worth bearing in mind that these maybe perhaps are the paper tigers that we hope they are. These may be the folks who are just showing the flag because they have nowhere else to go. They got nowhere else to go. Look at this treacly amount of people. Just not a lot. You'd think there'd be thousands and thousands of people out there. This looks like Kind of wonder if that's CGI in the pack. Maybe they've got more. Maybe they have 100,000 people there. Maybe they do. Why aren't they surrounding the whole thing though? I'm just curious. Why are they all the way? Did you see that? Did you see? Okay, where's my cursor? Did you see the fact that they're all they go? Oh, we want you to think that there are people all the way down there. Boy, that's out of focus a lot. Okay, they don't. Their photos don't go anywhere else. Well, gee, guys, wouldn't you just literally surround the power plant? Just a question. I don't know. It's a show, obviously. This is Pallywood. Pallywood written by, you know about Pallywood. Does everybody know about Pallywood? Pallywood was started by the Palestinians so that they'd always stage crises. We have crisis actors. Lots of places do it, but Palestine does that as well. And they've really carried it out to an art form wherein they have their own crisis actors. They play victim. They could actually play victim, play the person who comes to rescue them, and other doctors at the hospital. They all play different parts to recreate scenes that they put out on social media so that it intimidates people. And so it's Pallywood. There it is again. Okay. So let us go to, before we get to the ridiculous case of the Eric Swalwell files. You know, I've told you on Thursdays we do the Epstein files, and we share the news of the day, but we also share news about the Epstein files, the latest information that's out of them, good, bad, or indifferent to my side of the political aisle. In fact, I've been more than gracious about putting crap out there that's bad for my people. Okay, so we do that on Thursdays, but we're going to give you an update on the Eric Swalwell files, plus Spencer Pratt. I don't know, some of you may remember him from The Hills reality television series. Well, he lost his home in the LA fires. He lived in Pacific Palisades with his pop star wife and their 2 children, and they lost everything. And he's running for mayor, and he's mad as hell, and he's not going to take it anymore. And so what happens? Now, LA wants to make sure that, hey, do you have an address in LA from whence you are running for mayor now? LA Times is on the bandwagon trying to get this guy disqualified. They're trying to DQ the one guy who's going to bring change in Los Angeles, and it really irritates me. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later, okay? Oh, hey, Jordan, I already shared some stuff from your buddies over at 2Z TV. Let us go. Sam Faddis, very concerned. Rightfully so. The former CIA operative, as I said, the guy who was sent to Iraq to find weapons of mass destruction, didn't find them, and hadn't found them, was in the midst of trying to find them when we announced that, hey, we're going in. And all of a sudden, we're invading Iraq. And so that really is like, what? And then he's written multiple books about the CIA, about national security. He's quite prolific. He is with and founded And magazine, which is on Substack. Very well worth the read. In fact, his latest piece, which you'll see in our post, is in our discussion, is about how he thinks we're kind of blundering blindly into this Iran thing. And I talked to him about, well, wait a minute, we've been gaming this out. We've been gaming out this war, if you will, whatever this attack, for decades. This is not new. And he talks about that. He talks about human intelligence. He talks about other things. You'll get depressed, but remember, joy comes in the morning. And I think that they're going to blink, but we'll see. So here's my discussion with Sam Faddis. Please enjoy it, and I'll be back on the other side. To the Adult in the Room podcast, Sam Faddis, how are you?
I am doing great, Madame. Thank you for asking.
I think nobody's talking as much about this as they should be. And because we're now poking holes in everything and we're looking for something wrong, understandable and very important to do. But I wonder if it's a good idea to be doing this attack of Iran. Thoughts?
Well, first thought is that's a question we should have asked before we started it, right? That's,
Yeah.
Look, I worked against the Iranian regime. Be clear, we're not talking the Iranian people for a very long time. I'll be the happiest guy in the world if that madhouse goes away and there's actually a free Iran. So I'm all for that. Would I have recommended we do this now in this way? No, I would not. And I think the reality is that we launched this attack with this idea that the whole thing was going to be over, in a matter of days almost. And this was a rotten regime and it was ready to collapse and a house of cards and yada, yada. And we're going to knock it over and be all over but the shouting before anybody knew it. And that was a really bad estimation. It was never going to happen. It didn't happen. And now we're trying to figure out what plan B is. Mm-hmm. And so, this is not about supporting the Iranian regime, but it is about recognizing that, okay, maybe we made some mistakes and maybe we really quickly need to recalibrate.
So this was all gamed out years in advance, I assume, because that's what we're being told, and that's what the military says. And, they have, all they do is refresh previous plans, right? So one would assume that it wasn't going to be a cakewalk. Do you think there's a miscommunication on everyone's part? Do you think there's just a misunderstanding on their part? What could have been done better?
Well, look, I'm going to tell you what I think I know based on talking to a lot of people outside and inside. I don't think that this entire idea of the decapitation strike, or whatever you want to call it, and very quickly the regime would fall, I don't think that represents anything that was ever gamed out by the Pentagon. I don't think anybody who does this for a living in the intelligence community and national security community who knew anything about Iran would have actually said, yeah, the plan is we just hit them real hard in about 5 days we'll win. That's completely inconsistent with everything we've ever seen from them and everything we know about them. So who exactly sold the president on that is obviously a matter we're still trying to grapple with that. I mean, I think that was something sold by the Israelis. I'm not going to say that exclusively the Israelis sold that. In any event, I don't think what you're seeing is the way sober planners ever contemplated. I don't think the guys who, as you say, do in fact create war plans and then update them and update them and update them, I don't think those guys ever came up with a plan that said, yeah, if we just smack these dudes around for a few days, it'll all be over. I think they would have told you that's fabulous, and if that happens, we'll be the happiest guys in the world, but it ain't going to happen. So in other words, we disregarded that advice, I guess, is what that boils down to.
That's what you think. Okay.
That is what I think. I think we went for a representation that this was going to be one heck of a lot easier. And now we're having to craft plan B while we're already in the war, which obviously is not exactly the way you'd like to do that, right? You don't really want to start the war first and then figure out how to win it. That's not. And also, I mean, let me be clear. Look, these guys, the regime is monstrous, and the world would be better off without it. And here's the real catch: once you start the war, you kind of have to win it, right? The worst thing in the world would now be to start a war with these crazy people, the mullahs, and then have them perceive they just won.
Yeah.
That's not a good. That's not really an answer.
I have a question. So I was watching 2Z TV today. They have really great information. Here's a look at the murder board, if you will, of the mullahs and the other leaders, and just kind of curious that he notes very wisely, I believe, that the folks, these people over here are the IRGC,
Right.
and they're dropping like flies. Over here are the regular army dudes.
Right.
Is this something that you believe is this group of people are the ones that we've been dealing with? And why would we trust them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me take it in pieces. I mean, the IRGC is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, so it's kind of their most high-speed, well-funded, most squared away in the sense of capable military. And it also, to a large extent, includes the folks who actually run the country at this point and are tied to the regime. So the fact that you're schwacking those guys, I mean, that's obvious why you're doing that. And we're probably trying to drive a wedge between them and the regular army, hoping that somebody will jump up. I don't know who we're talking to, and I'm not sure we know who we're talking to. I mean, part of the issue here is the Iranians studied the way we fight for 20 years, watched us in Afghanistan and Iraq. So nothing we've actually done is a surprise to them. And one of the things that they knew was you're going to start by trying to take down their national command structure, kill all the folks at the top who actually run the place, take out their communications, et cetera, so forth. So they planned to decentralize from day one. They have 31 separate commands all over the country. Basically, you can cut off the head of this organism, but it continues to fight. It's like some kind of weird primitive creature or something out of Greek mythology, right? Where you cut off the head and the thing continues to live. Okay, well, so that allows them, you can see what that allows them to do. It allows them to continue to resist even when you think you've taken down the guys at the top. But it also means that now you want them to act like a single organism, but they already split into 31 different pieces and they're decentralized.
Yeah.
So now the question is, who the heck can actually speak for Iran at this point? Also, by the way, who wants to speak for Iran? Because we have a habit of killing the people who announce you. So you might want to decline the honor if. And now and it's going to be even murkier than that, right? Because it's the Middle East and everything is murky. So you're going to have guys that claim that they're speaking for Iran, and you're not even going to know whether that's true. Excuse me.
Didn't they have the Strait of Hormuz situation, wherein they asked, okay, if you are who you say you are, if you're the guy in charge, then let 8 ships through, and they ended up leaving or allowing 10.
Right.
That's impressive, right?
If that's actually the way that happened. On the other hand, if you knew that the decision had already been made for 8 or 10 ships to be released, and then you claimed responsibility for it, that would also work. Mm-hmm. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East talking to a lot of guys who claimed that they had something to sell or they could deliver something, right? And that's great, but then you actually have. It sometimes takes a considerable amount of time to figure out whether you're being played, whether you're being sold a bill of goods. I mean, this is not a place where you get ahead by just trusting people. That should not be part of your. Yeah. Trust has no place in this world, right? Very hard-nosed bargainers and all kinds of duplicity, and so we're in that dark room now, and we're groping around, and we're trying to figure out who are we talking to and what's the way ahead.
Sam is not without portfolio. Of course, he's a former CIA honcho who's done his time in the field as well as being the boss of lots of people in the CIA. He's written multiple books, and these are just a sampling of all the books that he's had a hand in or has written himself. And so you have obviously an incredible pedigree. Well, let me get to your column recently, which was on And Magazine on Substack. You cannot win a war with blinders on. You alluded to a few of these points, but one of the one of the things that you say is that we, of course, implicit, in fact, explicit in the title, somebody's got blinders on. And one of the things you mention is this paragraph. We've been told from the beginning of this conflict that the Iranians are about to fold. The whole regime was characterized as a house of cards that would topple quickly. This did not happen. It was never going to happen. For whatever combination of reasons, we started a war based on a false premise. Okay, why wasn't that ever going to happen?
Well, look, I mean, there's nothing about the Iranian regime, its rhetoric, who runs it, its structure, and its history of military conflict that would lead you to believe this. These guys fought a war with Iraq very early on after the Islamic Revolution, so when they were still trying to pull it together for what, a decade, and lost nobody knows how many hundreds of thousands of guys.
Sure.
And never quit. And maybe for the average American, the particular brand of Islam that the guys at the top here adhere to just strikes you as kind of wacky, right? Like, but it's not wacky or silly or comic bookish to them. They believe this, so they believe that they believe that we are at the end of times. They, in terms of like the apocalypse, Armageddon, as you know, if you're a Christian and you believe in the Bible, I mean, that kind of Armageddon. They believe this is not a metaphor for something. Literally, we're at the end times. And when the great conflagration happens, they win. That is written. That is what's going to happen. They also believe that they have to bring on the apocalypse.
Right.
Like there's no way to get to the part where they win and they dominate the world without walking through the firestorm. And it is their job, their requirement, their obligation to bring on the firestorm, to bring on the end of the world, because they know on the other side they win. So if you're talking about guys like that, you would not think when we start bombing them, they're going to quit. That's not what you would think. They're not afraid of it because in their souls, they believe, they know they will win and we will lose.
Well, how come they haven't done it before this then? If this was part of the plan, part of their plan, the 12ers, the down and dirty dead enders.
Right.
These are the people who believe God's not big enough to create this scenario. Indeed, they are the ones that have to bring it to fruition. And so Christianity is not like that. Christianity is like, well, whatever you want, God. I mean, obviously, we're just bystanders here, and we're here to speak the gospel and hope we take as many people to heaven as possible. So, however one feels about that, that's just very deep difference. So, okay. Here we are, and they're now saying that they're going to attack some meaningful things that are analogous to what we're doing to them. And I don't know if it's in the United States, but it's U.S. It has something to do with the United States. I also know that they're sending women and children to the surround power stations, power installations, and that sort of thing. Let's hope we can see this. Let me just make sure I can see this here. There you go. These are the kids. They've got 12-year-old soldiers. They're positioning kids as soldiers, checkpoints, etc. They've got mothers, women in their burqas, or whatever verbiage they use for Iran. And they've got children. And so they got the big PR Hollywood situation going right now, and they're starting to institute it. Do you think that President Trump blinks?
That's a really good question. I mean, this is. Let me fall back here just a second, because I don't want anybody to misinterpret these comments. The end of this regime would be a great and wondrous thing. for the whole world, and first and foremost for the people of Iran. I mean, I've worked against these guys, and they are monsters, and they have done unspeakable things to Americans and their own people. And I'm not saying that they're unbeatable or we can't win. When I'm writing things like, you don't win a war with blinders on, I'm not saying you can't win the war. I'm just saying when you're in a war, you have to actually face reality, right? Wishful thinking. Hope is not a plan, as we used to say in the field. You don't just hope it turns out okay. When these guys are trotting out men, women and children around bridges, are they using it as a PR tool to manipulate us? Yes, because they are really, really smart as well as all this. Will they actually leave those people there, even when they think we're about to blow them up? Yes, they will also do that. They will manipulate you, but they don't care if these people get vaporized when we blow up the bridge. So do I think Donald Trump is going to say, go ahead and carry out airstrikes and so forth on places that we know have large numbers of civilians basically confined there? I seriously doubt that's going to happen. In that sense, he will, he'll blink or change plans. Will we still hit other targets and still find other ways to hurt them where they haven't managed to do this? Yes, to that extent, I think he will carry out his threat. But again, when they put 1,000 little kids and ladies on a bridge, and they'll milk it for every ounce of PR that they can get, 100%. And they will also let them get vaporized, 100%, without any question. So do they know what they're doing when they're messing with us? Yes, but they're also 100% capable of doing. I mean, these are guys who will strap a suicide vest to a little kid and have done it over and over and over, and they don't have any issue about it. And keep in mind, by the way, that if you're a true believer, pressing the switch on your suicide vest is not a bad thing, because when you die in the performance of jihad, you are automatically you reemerge in paradise. It's like your ticket to paradise. It's your reward. In fact, the only way you can get to paradise is by doing something like that. So when you press that switch, if you're a true believer, you don't think, wow, this is going to be horrible and I'm going to be splattered all over the countryside. You think, I'm going to press this switch, and then the next nanosecond, I'm in heaven.
Yeah. Sam Faddis is the founder of And magazine. You can find that on Substack. And another thing he has to say in his piece in Substack is that what we saw during the fighting that surrounded the downing of the F-15 over the course of 2 days was not a regime about to topple. We saw Iranian forces actively engaging our air and ground forces. We lost altogether, counting the aircraft we had to destroy on the ground, an F-15, an A-10, two C-130s, and an MH-66 Little Bird helicopter. There are also reports that the multiple Black Hawk helicopters sustained damage from small arms fire, which is not surprising. So, okay. Here's the question. How... You talk about communication. You talk about the fact that all we've heard here is that, they've blacked out the internet. They can't talk to each other. These leaders are in bunkers. They're sending notes via courier, handwritten notes. And yet the putative head of Iran goes on TV and says, come out and bring your women and children and surround the power plants and Kharg Island or wherever, and the bridges and that sort of thing. How'd they get that word out if there's no communication? How is this working exactly?
Yeah, exactly. That's as we used to say back in the day, right? The $60,000 question. You took down all their cons, they can't talk. But obviously they are talking and coordinating and doing stuff. Because, you move to alternate means of communication. And again, they didn't wait till we started bombing stuff and then say, gee, how do we do this? They watched Iraq and they watched Afghanistan for 20 years, and learned precisely how we operate. And nothing we have done has surprised them. So they didn't say, oh my God, the Americans bombed that radio tower. That never occurred to me that they would do this. I mean, they took out our satellite communications. So, I mean, what did folks do in Afghanistan? Taliban, they moved to old school HF radio transmissions. Stuff that, with really cheap equipment that you can put any place, and it's virtually impossible to jam all those communications or take out all of those things. And yes, you use couriers and you use other mechanisms. I mean, bin Laden evaded us hunting him down for a decade. You know what he did? He didn't have the internet and he didn't have a cell phone, and neither did anybody else in his house, and he went old school.
Yeah. And I think that you can add to this. I know one of your favorite hobby horses is, and this is not nothing, human intelligence. It's
Yes.
everything. My understanding is that there was a lot of human intelligence involved by the CIA, involved in several aspects of this conflict, if not war. What do you think? Has there been an improvement there? Is the CIA being turned around? All of a sudden, people who couldn't tell us where COVID came from are now competent at getting human intelligence on the ground in Iran. Please tell.
No, I mean, again, at some point in this conversation, I'm beginning to depress myself even, but it's like, no, the CIA is flat on its butt when it comes to human intelligence collection, and nothing has changed in 14 months since Radcliffe showed up. There have been no significant firings. There have been no significant change. So our intelligence is this: if you can see it from space or from a drone, okay, we see everything. If you can suck up electrons out of the air, right? Any kind of, the internet, text messages, cellular communication. Okay, essentially we can vacuum up all of that stuff. That's cool. And that's important. I don't mean to sound snarky about it. But when now you get to the realm of, okay, well, are they going to fold or are they not going to fold? What will they do? What are their plans and intentions? All the things that only exist inside people's skulls. And the only way you're going to get that stuff is by having a spy who's sitting in the meeting with the supreme leader and the other folks and tells you this is the plan. And do we have those sources? No, we don't have those sources. And look, DC, DC lives on bureaucracy and big budgets, right? And so human intelligence does not produce a $1 billion contract for Lockheed Martin to develop a new gizmo or a new device. So the way Washington works, it's not sexy, it's cool, it's kind of old school, it's dirty. It's also dangerous. You got to go talk to bad people in bad places. That sounds unpleasant. It's better to just let's put up a new satellite. And again, I'm not diminishing the importance of all that technical collection, because it is really important. But when right now you can see we did not have the human intelligence we needed going into this war. We made a big misjudgment of what they would do.
President Trump, I know you're the man who can read the tea leaves, and I'm sad to hear what you just said, but I know I have limited time, so I'm going to go over here to Donald Trump's Truth Social post from the other day. It was kind of crazy, but I think it's another one of those purpose pitches that we see every once in a while and go, oh, okay, what's he talking about? Well, here's what he's talking about. Yeah, I know you saw this, Sam. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day, the Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. I know there are multiple messages here. Do you have any way of explaining that to us?
Well, I mean, I think what he's trying to do is project to them that I'm really willing to do this, and you don't want to test me, and I understand that sentiment. I'm not saying I would have written that text message, but I think that's what he's trying to do. It's just you're backing guys into a corner that you may ultimately force them to take action that will really have a massive negative impact on the whole world. I mean, the way this war has progressed is we beat up on the Iranians, and they don't really fight our military. I mean, they do when they can, but by and large, they're not shooting at us most of the time. We beat up on them, and they shoot at the Gulf nations and Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And increasingly, they shoot at, or at least threaten, oil, gas, and the water desalination plants. And what they're saying is, and at this point, they've closed the Straits of Hormuz. So, and what they're saying now increasingly is, we're willing to burn the whole place to the ground. By the whole place, I mean the whole Gulf, and 1/4 of the world's oil and natural gas is going to go with it. We're not just going to keep the straits closed. We're going to take out the refineries and processing plants. We're going to take it offline totally. Doesn't matter if the straits open, there won't be anything coming out. We're going to light a match to 1/4 of the world's economy.
And they would do that because it doesn't help them, obviously.
Because because we're out of options. You pushed us to the wall, and you've made this an existential thing. You're saying you're gonna kill us all. Mm-hmm. So guess what? We're all going to hell together. And I don't think these are guys that unfortunately are actually willing to do that. Now, do I hope they blink? Yes, God, I hope they blink. I hope that they knuckle under. I certainly do not want the alternative, but I wouldn't be betting on the possibility that they're bluffing. Again, these are people who will strap on a suicide vest and blow themselves up to kill folks.
Well, we're beyond our time that I promised you I'd keep you, Sam Faddis. You are tell us what you're doing so that we know where to find you. Tell everybody.
Best place to find me is on Substack at And Magazine, andmagazine.substack.com. But I'm out on Twitter and every place else as Real Sam Faddis.
Yeah. Good follow, obviously, everybody. And thank you so much, Sam. Sure appreciate it. And I hope that you're wrong.
I hope I am wrong, too, for the record. I will not be cheering if it turns out I'm right. I will not be it's not how I look at this. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Sam Faddis. He's always a good way to find out if you're just totally, whoa, are you overreacting or what have you? And now he's the guy on the other side. He's concerned. And as we all should be concerned about what's going on and whether or not those women and children that they've placed all over the factories or the energy plants and the bridges, etc., will die tonight. Who knows? I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. And but these are also the same people who shot more than 30,000 protesters in the streets, some of which, as we were told for the first time, seeing the president talk about the all-women's march that they had in Tehran, where it took about 5 snipers, 5 or 6 victims, and the place cleared out. And as the president said, they were shot right between the eyes by the marksman for the besiege forces and or whoever was doing the wet work for the Iranians that night. And so they've done the bloodletting. Oh yeah, plenty of bloodletting by these people. So they don't give a flying flipping frittata about the value of human life, which is part of the problem with dealing with these guys. As Golda Meir used to say, it'd be nice if they say, we love our children more than they love life? I wish they'd understand that. Words to that effect. I've just butchered the quote, but you get the message. People have purloined it, used it over and over and over again. So that is something to watch out. Of course, the bombing of Kharg Island, which is the main oil transmission place. I mean, this is where the gas, oil, crude is transferred from their refineries or their fabs to ships and then, gone through the Straits of Hormuz or Strait of Hormuz. So, and the other problem is that the Strait of Hormuz, I mean, if they would just, if Iran would do what it's supposed to do, as we like to say, it would be nice. Let's take a look at some of the things that the president has demanded of the Iranians and what they've demanded back. It's always good to have a little cheat sheet, which I did over on Perplexity. The Iranians want us to have a permanent end to the war. They don't want a temporary ceasefire. They just want us to stop. No kidding. Really? Wow, we never thought about that. The United States temporary ceasefire, immediate halt to hostilities, at least as a first step. Okay. The Iranians want guarantees that Iran will not be attacked again by the U.S. or Israel. What do you mean? Just like get out of jail free card kind of a deal? That's not going to happen. Sanctions relief. Not right now. It's not going to happen. You know, if you have a new regime of people in there and secular government and or people who believe in democracy of sorts, and what I mean by that is representative democracy, not pure democracy, because that is for crazy making. Then that's what they want. That's dumb. War reparations, reconstruction compensation. For who? For the mullahs to steal again? For those guys who have what is tantamount to their pied-à-terre in Paris, their pied-à-terre or their hunting camp in Canada, their dacha in the Black Sea with their Rusky friends. Come on. That's not going to happen. Broader regional de-escalation, including limits on strikes, tied to Hezbollah Unlimited. Get out of here. I mean, the Israelis are constantly under bombardment by Hezbollah and by Hamas, which, I mean, this goes without saying. We know that this is a truism. They want us to stop reacting to the attacks on the Israelis. Okay. So it's a non-starter. It's dumb and it's a non-starter. New framework for the Strait of Hormuz, including Iranian control of and tolling rights for the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, is that all? Wow. Okay. You want a better deal after getting the shinola beaten out of you than you do from after the war, than before the war, I should say. Okay. Some reports recognition of Iran's nuclear program under international law. Oh, so now we're supposed to codify your... Jeez. No wonder Obama took the easy way out and said, here, let me give you pallets of cash. Oh, you want it in euros? No problem. Here it is. Say, you guys, fellas, chop, let's get that Globemaster over here. Woo-hoo, let's get it all. Do we have everything all ready? The pallets are ready. Okay, let's make sure. I've got a picture of that. I've got to find it. I'm going to find it right now. Homegirl's got something. Pallet of cash. No. Here we go. Meme. That's a meme. Mm-hmm. Oh, never mind. I had a whole bunch of pictures from that, like the real, actual pallets of cash. You know, the shrink-wrapped ones, like legit photos from a report that was really well done. Okay. Jordan says, this is interesting observation. Having said that, he said something first. Well, I guess maybe we'll just go there first. Good interview. Sam Faddis is very knowledgeable. I agree with much of what he says. Clearly, threats to the mullahs didn't mean anything to the IRGC. Personally, I believe we stay the course. Yeah, I think that's where we are. We have no choice now. We are in it. We have no choice. Having said that, what I believe in my soul is that this is spiritual. It's a spiritual warfare. And the demons must be excised. Prayers. God is in control ultimately. This guy says Muhammad was a pedophile. Well, if you like 9-year-olds in your bed, yeah, I guess so, yeah. Okay, let's see. This, food for thought. Oh, this is from Jordan again. Sorry, you guys. Some of this stuff I can't put on the screen because it's nasty. Or, it's ad hominem about me because, oh, you're an old lady. Whatever. Wah, wah, wah. Who cares? And not for the first time has Iran shut down the straits, in the 1980s. Did it to Reagan as well. They go after the strong man. They do. Okay, so these are the demands that we have here up on the screen. A temporary ceasefire is what we want. Iran must stop attacks and enter the talks under U.S. set timelines. Compliance with U.S.-backed conditions before relief. No explicit U.S. support for reparations. We're not going to do that. We'll do it for the Iranian people, but not for the mullahs. Hell no. Sorry. No sale. Okay, so there are plenty of other things there. I wanted to get to a couple more things that I believe are of value. We've already talked a little bit about the Artemis 2 astronauts. I don't pretend to be an expert, but I'm not afraid of being excited about this mission. I had my little babies in our family, and I was pushing one of them on the swing yesterday, and she said, "I'm an astronaut. I'm going up in space on a swing." And it's about time we started aspiring to things like that again and encouraging people to do things greater than ourselves. And I thought that was really neat. That was really a cool moment. Yeah. All right. So a couple other things that I believe is of import. And I want to make sure I get to share this. Let's do this. Oh, no, wrong one. Burp, 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 burp. Oh, this is fun. Well, maybe. Stand by, everybody. Okay. This is, let's see, are we in that mode, though? Sometimes you just never know. Human shields. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Sorry, everything got just misplaced. Yeah, that's true. All right. Sorry, guys. Oh, that's true. That's a good question. Eric Swalwell will soon face sexual harassment allegations from former staffers, a left-wing activist says. The whole thing started... I don't know about this specifically, but Eric Swalwell is a congressional representative from California. He was previously on the Intelligence Committee in the House, and he was basically removed. He was stripped of any voting authority. And the reason he was because he, along with Ted Lieu and Adam Schiff, continued to misrepresent information, talk about intelligence outside the committee. And they lied about what they were seeing in the committee. Oh, yeah, this was revealed. Yes, we absolutely have proof that Donald Trump was a Russian spy. This will come out. Don't you worry, said Adam Schiff, month after month, after year, after scintilla of a moment, scintilla of the moment. For years, he did this. And then he still won for the Senate. But he was also stripped of his authority on the committee as well. Eric Swalwell, different case, guy, he was going out with a Chinese spy. Okay? He was going out with a spy for the CCP. She came into his life. She cultivated the relationship. And Eric Swalwell was beguiled. Okay, so he's, first of all, Fang was her name. She went by another, her last name was Fang. But her real name, her Chinese given name by the CCP or whoever her parents were, was Fang. And Eric Swalwell is upset because Kash Patel says he's going to, somebody leaked to Eric Swalwell, we'd like to know who that is, that the FBI was investigating because they want to know the extent to which his comportment or his dalliance over a period of years with Fang put him at odds with U.S. ethics, and why he conducted himself with Fang for all these multiple years. Okay, so there's that. So Cashwell's looking into it. I'm like, dude, you were going out with a CCP spy. And by the way, can I just tell you that the People's Republic of China, the PRC, and its CCP, Communist Party, are in California cultivating politicians all the time. It's happening at the city council level. Trust me, this is happening and it's been going on for years. Eric Swalwell was one of those city councilors who was elevated to Congress with a generous donation of people who had absolutely, we think, no business giving him money. It was probably, if it wasn't just overt, act blue, giving you money kind of deal from the CCP party, it was through channels and laundered. Okay, that is what Kash Patel went into. So somebody leaks it, drops a dime, and leaks it over to Swalwell. And he issues a cease and desist order against the FBI chief. What? Don't be silly. They're gonna laugh at it. They'll probably, mark it up with red ink and send it back to them. Like, oh, you made a mistake here. Like it's not even. It's not something one does. So he's issued a cease and desist letter to Kash Patel over threats to release the investigative files. So what do the investigative files say? Let's go over here. This is another story. Thank goodness for the New York Post. Eric Swalwell, candidate for California governor, be an even worse example of leadership than Gavin Newsom, which is really hard because that guy is terrible. Anyway, he appeared in multi appearances to capitalize on the report and told CNN that Trump and Kash Patel are dangerous individuals. You know what's more dangerous? Somebody lying about the EC and the Intelligence Committee in order to curry favor and or destroy politicians. This is actually a legit investigation into Eric Swalwell. But the initial thing, this was something that was done organically. Somebody drops a dime to Swalwell. Hey man, you're being investigated by the FBI. It's probably one of his friends. Maybe it was a reporter. Maybe it was somebody else. I mean, after all, we did see that a reporter dropped a dime on the U.S. military about the two F-15 pilots that were lost, that were found again. There's a reporter who reported that. And you know what happened as a result? First of all, nobody knew, except maybe the guy who shot at the plane and thought he got it, blown out of the sky. And the second thing is they put in danger the pilots. They put in danger the people who came to look for the pilots and everything else. And I don't blame them for wanting to go after the reporter or their source. They want to go after the reporter to get the source. People have gone to jail for that. There have been the New York Times reporter went to jail for it, during the Iraq War. We get it. It happens. Not giving up a source, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I got to tell you, I mean, that reporter could have turned a great deal. It's gone, said, hey, look, I have this intel, and I'm not going to report it right away. But I want the exclusive story about this when it's time to talk about it. I mean, I would have tried to do that deal with an attorney, but whatever. So anyway, here we go. So somebody probably dropped a dime on Eric. Now somebody's coming after him from the left. Eric Swalwell will soon face sexual harassment allegations from former staffers, left-wing activists, says. I don't know who Gen Z for change is. I mean, whatever. She's cute. I'm sure she's fantastic on TikTok. But Chuck Ross wrote this story. Chuck Ross is no joke. And he says that Eric Swalwell is going to soon face sexual harassment allegations from a number of credible women, including former staffers, and because he basically sexually abused them, according to these women. Okay. Group's executive director, Cheyenne Hunt, detailed the impending allegations from Swalwell, who's running for governor. In a series of media posts, her original video was posted to Instagram in late March and cited a text from a woman who wrote, Eric Swalwell has slept with many of his interns and makes them all sign NDAs so they don't speak up, right? And when I was 19, he tried to hitting on me and sliding into my DMs, and I have so many other friends that have similar experiences with him. Hunt said the message was not an anomaly, but part of a pattern. Okay, we'll prove it then. Let's go. Chop, chop. Let's go. And by the way, you can sign an NDA, but you know how far an NDA goes? Non-disclosure agreement? It goes as far as it asks you to break the law and impugns your civil rights in terms of, not reporting a crime. NDAs don't cover those. Ask Diddy. So anyway, then Hunt, this woman, followed up on a video posted on Sunday why I came forward about Eric Swalwell. She says she's personally working with a group of women. Okay, yeah, they're coming forward. Where are they? It's like the Epstein people. Half of those people who've gotten, by the way, another B of A has been sued. The Epstein victims, I say victims in quotation marks, the scare quotes, because some of them are not actually victims. Some of them are perpetrators who have, morphed into victimhood over the years. So I just want you to know that because I know people who've been sexually abused. I was almost raped myself. I've already told you that story. And it's no joke. And I do not treat this lightly. I do treat very, very seriously, however, the fact that somebody might be willing to bring down a politician based on innuendo. And as I know from watching what's going on, what's happened to Donald Trump, this is easily done without evidence. So I hope Chuck's got some evidence in here. Many of these women have remained silent for so long. But here's the thing. The key to the game is getting the information from Congress about how much money has been spent on legal fees to stifle the naysayers against Eric Swalwell. We find out because there are multiple, people who have gotten free legal coverage from the freebies that they get from the Congress. Congress pays their legal fees and it keeps them quiet. What is this? Is this 2026 for crying out loud? Come on. Hey, by the way, pay your own legal fees, you gold bricker. That's an old-fashioned phrase. Go pay your own legal fees. And I know, don't fondle, sexually abuse, or anything untoward women in your employ, or any others for that matter. How about if you just don't do that? Is that an old-fashioned thing for this old broad to say? I don't think so. I think ethics, honesty, and keeping your hands off people who are not your wife, that's kind of an ongoing, it's a thing still, right? That's what I thought. I think it's a thing. So Eric Swalwell, you're in trouble, dude. It's happening. What you did to Trump is happening to you. Woo-hoo! I know I hate the schadenfreude of the whole thing. Did I just say I hate that? Actually, I don't hate that. I know it's wrong of me to wish ill on the people, but I can't imagine a better person to just hoist on his own petard, or in Eric Swalwell's, case, hoisted on his own retard. So I said it. I just did. Okay. Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of Los Angeles. Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of Los Angeles because Spencer Pratt lost his home in the Pacific Palisades fire, where there was no water in the reservoir. There was no water in the fire repositories, the water repositories, the water hydrant, fire hydrant. Nothing. Nobody was pre-deployed. The fire chief was off doing something. A lot of the equipment was in getting it fixed. Wasn't even available for use. It was a complete cluster, mismanaged, incompetent, crazy chaos time. Terrible. January 7th, 2025. Yeah. So he's burned out of his home. as many were. And he's just been doing stories from his house. He's been doing podcasts from his house, speeches from his house, interviews. Now he's investigating things. And all of a sudden, he started chasing down information about how city officials in Los Angeles run by, I say run, ooh, is that an run by Karen Bass, or as he calls her, Karen Basura, which is Spanish for garbage. So he calls her Karen Basura. She's terrible. She was another one for whom it was her turn to run for office. And this was a wonderful thing for a DEI communist who was a Cuban acolyte, or she was an acolyte of Cuban strongman dictator Fidel Castro, made multiple trips to Cuba to bring people into the warm embrace of communism, which if you want to know what that looks like, go try to have surgery in any place in Cuba and not be an American. Okay. And the other thing is that she's a mess. She's a hot mess. Well, now check this out. This is so infuriating to me. It is so infuriating because it's so on brand. I mean, it is so predictable. Here's what they did to Spencer Pratt. Los Angeles Times. Spencer Pratt's move to Santa Barbara County after his Palisades house burned raises eligibility questions in the LA mayor's race. Oh my goodness, how dare he not be in his home? He's got an answer for it, but this is so outrageous. So the guy has to move out of his home because it's burned, because you did nothing to stop it. You saved a plant in a local park, state park actually, and you saved that instead of humans, allowing the brush to get out of control. In fact, it was so bad that when the DWP, the LA DWP, which is the Department of Water and Power, came along and said, hey, we got to change out these telephone poles and we got to get this brush down. And they start working in there. And the Enviros from Sacramento, Gavin Newsom, sends somebody down there and stops them. Says, hey, by the way, you have to replace all that stuff. All the stuff you took out, the fire stuff that's going to catch fire and become a terrible catastrophe like it did. Yeah, it's got to go back. So they planted their flag on the idea that a plant that someone says they thought they saw, someone said they thought they saw on a trail in this canyon park by Malibu and Pacific Palisades between them, said, I think we need to stop them from clearing that. And I have the guy's name. It's out there. But that guy was just, what a douchebag. What a complete clown show. So it is reported they stop the work, and guess what happens? A conflagration happens. And it's not just in Pacific Palisades and Malibu. A lot of Malibu went up in smoke too. And, they're rich people. No, they're not necessarily rich people. It's not to do with the Eaton fire. The Eaton fire is pretty clear what happened. That was an electrical wire that whipped in the wind, started the fire. You could see it's literally on video. The ignition point is on video. Not the same with this. Not the same with this. They allowed that to happen. They said, okay, well, we'll just put, whatever, housing. We'll give all our friends wonderful, ocean views, and then we'll put in a Section 8 housing in there. Literally, they're trying to put Section 8 housing into Pacific Palisades. And people can't get permits to rebuild, costing a fortune. So I'm going off on this. Is really so annoying. It's an outrage. It's beyond. So anyway, candidates registering for city office are required to be registered to vote in L.A. and to be residents of the city by January 3rd. By January 3rd, in order to be eligible, according to the city clerk's office. I think this brings up the question as to whether Spencer Pratt can satisfy the residency requirement under the charter to be elected mayor. So Jessica Levinson, their favorite liberal professor of law at Loyola Marymount. Pratt and his campaign staff didn't respond to repeated inquiries from the Times. So anyway, so Spencer Pratt, I feel like I can call him Spencer. I just remember hating him when he was on TV. You know, the guy they used to hate, I think that's the name of his book. But he has won my respect. And in this video that he responded to this outrageous, I mean, I understand, legitimate question, got it. But do you watch what this guy does? Or are you just doing it because a woman who is your favorite candidate, LA Times, has been eclipsed by Spencer Pratt in the latest polls? Is that what's going on here? To which I would say, yeah. Here he is. Sir, let me know if you can hear it. This guy is just on fire. Okay, here we go. Gonna make sure I can do this. Where'd it go? He is so angry. This is not usually his thing, to be angry. So just crazy. I'm going to stop that to make sure I get this in the proper setting. Interesting. Okay. Because I want you to see it. Okay. This is the big news. I mean, obviously not the biggest news. This big story, not just for West Coast West Coasters either. This is like a very important moment when the left is caught manipulating the system again to protect themselves.
UCLA put me ahead of Raman. Suddenly, one of her stalkers at the LA Times started harassing everyone in my family, threatening to dox where my children live and go to school, even texting and harassing my mom. Hey, Noah, are you a journalist or a stalker? This is how dirty these career politicians are. Nithya sends her lapdog to harass my family because they know we have the winning message and they are panicking.
Spencer Pratt is running for mayor, and I think he can win.
Yes,
he's actually good. He's like, what he's saying makes a lot of fucking sense.
They want to try and write a hit piece about me, about my residency, because I've had my family sheltered up in my dad's rental home in SB, and they want to attack me for not living in the Palisades while running for mayor. Hey, brain surgeon, my house burned down. You guys let my entire neighborhood burn down, remember? The burned out lot I own in the Palisades is still my legal residence, where we are trying to rebuild in the face of Karen Basura and Nithya Raman and our broken city leadership putting up every hurdle imaginable to make it harder and harder for us to rebuild. Don't forget, I made the choice to run for mayor 3 months ago.
That's why I am running for mayor.
You see, schemers like Raman and Basura and their media sickos can't fathom that I didn't have some grand scheme to run for mayor like these slimy career politicians. I didn't plan any of this. I wasn't thinking, I really need to make sure I stay in the zip code in case I run for mayor. I was just trying to find the safest place to go where I could try and give my kids the most normal life that I could after these clowns nearly destroyed our life as we knew it. But guess what? Pratt Daddy used his SBA disaster loan to get an Airstream craned into my burned out lot in the Palisades. Sure, thanks to Karen Basura, it'll take a whole month for LADWP to get our power connected, but my Palisades war room is back. Like Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon, I'm living in my trailer by the beach and I'm winning this race. Unlike Nithya, who spent her whole life in either India or on the East Coast, didn't even step foot in California till her 30s, knows nothing about our city. I was born here, went to school at USC, I bleed Dodger blue, this is my city and I'm taking it back.
Next to it, asshole.
And he should. If I lived in LA, I'd vote for him. You know, I'd vote for him. I really would. Is he the most qualified person in the pack? Probably, actually. He's like, I know what I would do. I would make sure that there's water in the fire hydrants. That's better than the current mayor. I know. I'd make sure I was in the country when there is a flag alert with, DEFCON 5 coming up in high winds with the Santa Anas at a time of higher fire intensity. I'd probably stay around. I might be on the phone with the fire chief. I might have hired a qualified fire chief. I bet you he'd do that. You know what? I'll bet you he'd pick up the garbage on time. You know what else? He would probably do something better with the permitting department. Like Rick Caruso, who should be running also, but he's not, whatever. So Rick Caruso said, you know where those city planners should be to help people get permits for their homes that have been burned down? They should be in trailers like the kind Spencer Pratt has and on the premises in Pacific Palisades, working there, facing the people there, making sure that everything goes smoothly and quickly. I bet you he'd do that too. So already on paper, Spencer Pratt's far more qualified than Karen Basura. He is. Yeah, he is. Hey, Democrats, put that in your pipe and smoke it. And you will, I'm sure. Unbelievable. Well, okay, we're out of time. Well, I mean, there's more time. I guess I could be here all night. Let's get through some of the comments here. Pam Bondi is actually friends with Eric Swalwell, and she warned him of being investigated. You're right. I did hear that. I can't even believe that would be true, but it also makes sense because Pam Bondi's no longer the Attorney General anymore. Drop dime on Cash Patel. She just like, hey, Eric, hey, in what world, I'm just curious, in what world would Pam Bondi have connections with Eric Swalwell? And in what circle do they, where's Kamala Harris, the guy that plays the thing? One of those circle. What am I trying, starts with V. Venn diagram. Thank you. I just had to think for a second. Venn diagram. I mean, where do they, and where's the mutual spot where they get together? What is that? I have no idea, but I did hear that. Thank you very much for reminding me, though. Yeah, wow. Swalwell is corrupt to the core, says this person. Oh, that's Jordan. Corrupt to the core is just one prime example of the depth of corruption in Congress. Boy, oh boy. Honest to goodness. There is a lot of corruption. They, of course, there should be term limits. I know you can't do term limits for federal offices. You have to have a change in the Constitution. And I think that getting term limits is a laudable goal. You get so many people entrenched in there. Then they'll say, well, wait a minute. If you do that, then all the people who are the folks who are being sexually harassed by Eric Swalwell and all those other people, are always there, they don't get washed out with the rest of us. Yeah, well, that's what we call the deep state. Now they acknowledge it. It exists. Those people might do stuff behind our back because we haven't figured out how to do it yet. I understand. I get it. But how about ethics? How about not making money on the stock market, Nancy Pelosi? How about that? Tell your husband in the little pillow talk that they have, oh, by the way, it's looking real good for XYZ computer company. And then all of a sudden, Paul Pelosi goes and does a couple of trades, and all of a sudden they are multimillionaires. Crazy. Okay, we're back on Thursday. We have another spectacular Epstein Thursday for you, as well as the regular news of the day. And of course, we'll find out by then, tonight, when this is airing, we'll find out what happened in Iran. Pray for peace. And I'll see you back then. Bye.